This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome to Monday Night Skippys, and it's round number 12, the final round here of the season, live on RaceSpotTV. I'm Rachel Wyford, joined as always by Linus Brostrom and Will Vincent, of course, behind the cameras. And qualifying is underway. This is the final round. And, well, the points have come down to a fairly close position here, Linus, and two drivers stand to battle this one out. At the moment, that is Jack Hobbs and Simon Edwards. Hobbs jumped Edwards in the final round preceding this one, and he is now on 317 points. Edwards on 299. So those two relative positions have a huge impact in this one. And right now, I'm not seeing Hobbs really on the list, but that could change. Anthony Catt, currently provisional pole at the moment, and I believe we're still waiting for Hobbs to qualify, even if he's in the race, because if he's not, that one will completely throw this out the window. And yes, Hobbs is qualified in 17th at the moment. Don't know how many laps he's actually got in the books right now, but we'll be keeping an eye where he does qualify. Because if he's far enough outside the top 10, top 20, this one goes to Edwards.
It really does. He needs to be up inside or near the top 10 to have any chance at winning this championship, unless Edwards crashes out. So it's going to be coming down all the way to the wire unless something happens, and he's currently coming to the end of a lap here. He's got about 2 more corners to go, so he'll have to hope to improve by at least 1 second if he's going to have anything to say in this race.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to see exactly what they can do with this. As we said, Catt out front, Edwards there, Williams, Daniels, Anderson, your top 5 at the moment. But we'll look back at those points, and it's Catt who's running 3rd at the moment. He's potentially within a shot of this, should Edwards or Hobbs not finish. So they both have to not finish for Catt, who's numerically able to win, to take this thing, possibly. But it's a very skinny opportunity. Whereas we look at someone like Daniels, he has a real chance of passing Catt in the standings for 3rd place if he can get a better result here. Big update here. Qualifying, Hobbs has just put a lap in that has put him up to 4th position right now. That'll also have him start right behind Simon Edwards. So that is a big change to this, Linus. And if he can finish behind him or in front of him, he wins the championship, and that's huge.
He does. He's just going to have to... Oh, as Edwards goes to pole, yeah. Just in the
Hobbs
last
drops.
seconds there.
My gosh.
And, wow.
Hobbs has gone down to 8th. This just flipped on its head, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, but he's just going to need to have a clean race now, not make any mistakes, and try to stay up here as he drops another position and another one, so he's currently in 10th. He's obviously on a lap though, so he can still improve as he drops to 11th. And it looks like he has abandoned that lap, so...
This could be where he starts, yes, as I think most of our top 10 are set. These, of course, were, I believe, we're looking at the old 3-lap qualify run, so I think they all have those in the bag right now as we go to the starting grid. Pole position today, 2 minutes 15, 3:73 for Simon Edwards, putting on pole at the last second with Anthony Catt in 2nd place. Clark Williams in 3rd, Ben Daniels and Matt Cox rounding out your top 5. Behind them is Ewan Patterson, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, Lee Anderson, Anthony Jones and Jake Ridlington, with Chris Robertson in the 11th spot. Jack Hobbs drops all the way to 12th there at the end. Adrian Hendy in 13th place with Daniel Tufts and John McGovern in 15th. Dave Martin, Nepal, Cameron Barker with James McRitchie and Christopher Keeble in 20th. Behind them is Matthew Delamain, Dave Kirkman, Tim Adcock, Tony Stack, Chris Sansfield, Neil Jackson, Alan Patterson, Chris Morris, Chris Stokes and Neil Stevenson in 30th. Steve Lowe, Lewis Cannell, Chris McCain, Dave Dowson, Peter Parnell, Darren Morris, Michael Taylor, Kim Antonides, Ryan Walker, Stefan Nobis, Seymour Harding, Mark Woodhouse, Paul Smith, Lewis Morga, James Ruth Jones, Phil Regan, Mark Murphy, Martin Brandon and Troy Adams in 47th and last. Huge grid tonight, Linus, as we get ready for that green flag. And it's going to be a big race. And wow, Hobbs has an uphill battle all of a sudden. We now have a fight.
We really do, and it's Hobbs is definitely going to have his work cut out for him here. Edwards just needs to cruise along at the front. That's obviously easier said than done, but it's going to be a very, very interesting race to follow here. And Hobbs just, if he gets any trouble and falls back too much, it's going to be over for him.
Absolutely is, of course, as we are getting ready to go with this one now. A few seconds left before this one starts. 11 laps around the Autodrome Nacional Monza here in the heart of Italy. A fitting track to end the season. This is the full Grand Prix layout we're running tonight, so a big, fast drafting track, and we know the drafting package changed. The engine's rev, lights are on the stand, and we've got a green, green, green. Round number 12 begins, and the final hopes of many will be put to the test. Long run into turn 1 here, and a trouble spot on many a race. The turn 1-2 chicane at Monza. Everyone gonna have to be super careful here to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Oh, one car
already
in the
car in the
grass.
grass. It's gonna cause problems, and round we go. Big problems there. A huge crash happens on turn 1. We kind of expected that one to happen, Linus. I'm trying to work out who exactly that was because it was off to one side, and I'm just
That was
struggling
Cameron
to...
Barker
yes.
who went through the grass, and he missed Hobbs by nothing and just pile drove the car behind Hobbs, who is Adrian
Absolutely
Hendy.
lucky, yeah, so lucky there for Hobbs, of course, but not for everybody else, as he takes out 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh, and another
maybe
crash.
5, 6 cars.
That's the what's his name?
Anthony Jones
Anthony
there.
Jones, who got ran into behind by Clark Williams, who started in 3rd and had dropped all the way down into 10th, and he just missed the braking point and ran over Jones in front of him.
He did. We're sorry, we were just focusing on that massive crash at the start there. We count at least 7 cars with major damage there or in pit road now already after the first corner. So it's not just Sonoma's first couple of corners that causes problems here, as Edwards is on a long run right now with Anthony Cat. The two have made a good breakaway here. Ben Daniels a good distance back, about 3 seconds behind them right now as they come down to the final chicane here at Monza. And this race has really opened up here. Hobbs all the way back there. I believe he might be a little bit further up now based on just random positioning, but here we go at the front. Anthony Cat on Edwards for the lead. And it'll be a nice, simple pass for him.
It will, and Hobbs is currently in 10th, about to take over 9th here, so he's making progress, but with the 2 leaders driving away as fast as they are, he's definitely not going to catch up to those 2, as Cat is going to lead the first lap here ahead of Edwards. So good start for those 2.
Certainly is. Here we go back again. Edwards will make the same move back on Cat, so the final straight is going to be very important for them. As across the line comes the next group, we'll keep an eye on where everybody is. Hobbs up to 9th place after that shuffle, as it's side by side for Edwards and Cat here. Edwards gets back past as they'll come into that first chicane section at the start. The trouble spot, such a huge trouble spot last time, Linus. Major disasters we had there. That was, of course, the Variante del Rettifilo, the first chicane here at Monza. And they'll come through Curva Grande now. Up, sweeping around, fast and flat at these Skip Barber cars. No trouble for them whatsoever. Dropping down towards the Variante della Roggia. My Italian is rusty. Rosia, there we go. Will has just corrected me. The Variante della Rosia. Always called it the second chicane, as Cat gets a little tighter there than Edwards managed to make, Linus. He's just a little struggle there. But the Lesmos now. Not such a huge exercise in these cars, but wide there for Edwards, yeah.
He's pushing harder than he needs to, seeing where Hobbs is, but obviously Edwards maybe doesn't know where Hobbs is. All he knows is he's got Cat right behind him and he wants to beat him. Obviously he's a racer, so he's not going to settle in for second, even if that's enough for the championship, but you can tell he's pushing the car to the limit, almost going off the track there, but he's able to keep the lead so far as Cat closes in again. And I'm thinking he might wait up until the next straightaway to pass him into the parabolic, or possibly into the first chicane.
Well, the gap between second and third right now is in the ballpark of about 2 and a bit seconds, so that's something that these guys will benefit from, of course, and the passing we're seeing amongst the guys behind them, as Daniels pulled over to let, I believe that's 2.523 of Vaughan Roberts. Not sure what he was aiming for there, but that's not going to help them to actually gain on first and second. Through Parabolica they'll come. Edwards back to second place, as we've seen there, so passing on the way down to Parabolica going to be very important for winning this race, with the start finish line so early on the straight, Linus. as you don't even get the opportunity to actually come alongside there on the start-finish straight here. But you do by turn 1. So being in second place, as behind them, 3-4 wide there, Daniels, Vaughan Roberts, and also I think that in there is Cox as well, who makes it through the melee into third place.
He just made it 3 wide and just drove past him easy, and here comes Hobbs behind for 8th place. He tries to get 2 cars at once. He's going to end up taking 1, so he's going to move up to 9th. He's going to have a bad exit though, and stay in 10th by the looks of it.
It looks like Hobbs is desperate here, because that's a move of desperation we just saw there. Not the move of somebody who knows how far up the field they need to finish and is taking their time here, because he doesn't have to gain that many places to still maintain his points lead here. But the move there, it almost looked as though he was desperate to get through, not knowing how many places he needed to gain, and in a position where he nearly caused an incident and possibly could have taken himself out. So that's a critical mistake, really, to show temperament of the driver there. Edwards, his task is simple. He's up there with Cat. He knows he just needs to finish as high up this field as he possibly can and let fate do the rest. There's not much else he could do other than finish as far forward as he can. His race is simple. It's an easy approach to this for him, but Jack Hobbs, he's pushing now. He's really fighting to try and make this ground up, and I think he's perhaps realizing he maybe hasn't got the speed to get all the way up there.
Well, maybe not, but he's going to have to do whatever he can to make that work. The gap still between the leaders and this second group is 3 seconds, but with this second group having split up as well, that's not going to help Hobbs in his hunt to get as close to the lead as possible, as now there is a massive gap between 5th and 6th place, with Robertson and Ridlington having had a bit of a fight that's mixed that up a bit, and it's now Hobbs up in 8th place. He's going to lose that right away though, as we see that to Nicholas Von Robert, who dropped from 4th down into 9th on this lap. Obviously took back 8th there, but Hobbs really not having a good day so far.
No, I think the game plan we're seeing from Edwards right now, he's passing on both straights. He's doing what they can to keep building that timing. Of course, he's building that gap. They're working on just gaining time, and the passing back and forth, slingshotting, does benefit you if you clear before the corner, and that's what they're doing. They're dropping back in line. So they're gaining time by drafting together on both sets of long straights here. That helps them build a lead where the fight for the win is between 2 cars. Now, beneficial, the group behind them aren't doing that. They're not passing as easily, they're not making it work for the other car, and that is bringing them no closer to your lead pair than perhaps they could. So that's a big difference we're seeing there. Edwards, I'm thinking last lap, isn't going to go for the pass before turn 1, Linus. I think he's going to stay behind, so he gets the easy slingshot down into Parabolica for the win.
Yeah, that seems like if he's in second, unless Cat absolutely wants to be in second place, because then we might see what we saw about a year or so ago when we had 2 cars in the lead that kept braking to let the other one go, and that ended up having 3rd place winning the race. So you got to be careful not to do that, but at the moment they're building up the gap by about 3 to 4 tenths per lap, sorry. So they're going to have a few seconds to spare at that last lap, so whoever is in second coming onto that last straightaway down to Parabolica though is in the best position to win, I think.
Certainly is. I'm going to keep my eyes here on Adam Powell, who's running in this 3rd group, really. He's down in 11th place right now from 17th. He's working his way forwards. He's got Lee Anderson ahead of him at the moment. Behind him, Daniel Tufts. And just up ahead of that group, Vaughan Roberts is one that's now working to try and get back past Jack Hobbs, who passed him a few moments ago. But Vaughan Roberts looking like he may have an opportunity coming soon if he wants to try and find the right timing for this. And that's not going to be something Hobbs wants to see in this race, as the group ahead of him very, very, very close there. Patterson on the back of that train with Cox and Daniels. And we'll see this. It's not quite as smooth as the lead 2, who are just making it very easy to pass. Nice and simple. In fact, the lead is going low to let the guy behind pass very easily at the front. They know what the benefit of this is. Whereas the group just behind them hasn't really changed position. They're not drafting together, they're racing. And that's a huge time difference, because that clock is just winding up and up and up. It was 2.3 seconds gap last time by. We'll see what it is this lap to really gauge how much time they're gaining as pairs, as once again the draft pass for the leaders goes again. And that's now gained half a second of time on the racetrack by passing like that, whereas now we see 1 attempt this lap by this trio. 2 of them go through there. Daniels drops back to 3rd. I think Daniels has realised the need to start drafting to gain time, but the other 2 might not have.
No, it doesn't look like they are working together at all back here. Maybe one of them wants to, but if the others 2 doesn't do it, then obviously it's not going to work. And this is also slightly letting that group behind him catch back up again, and Hobbs just made it 3 wide to get up into 6th place. So he is now less than 2 seconds away from this top 5 battle, which could be enough for him to win the championship, if he can get there.
I think it could be, and that's going to be a very critical component in how this whole thing works, because I think Hobbs is now in position where he is to have gained enough points to make a difference, Linus.
I think he is. It depends on Edwards. So if Edwards is second, obviously Hobbs has won. If he wins, it's going to be really close. And Hobbs is obviously not going to be kept in this position by the others. They're going to do everything they can. Redlington right behind him, looking for a gap everywhere. So he's not safe, obviously not, even though he might like to finish 6th to win the championship. But he's got 3 hungry drivers behind him, Redlington, Robertson and Von Roberts, who all want to beat him. So he's going to have to just keep going and try and get up to those 3 cars in front of him. He's actually not getting any closer at the moment because he's not got drafts.
So right now I believe 18 points behind for Simon Edwards behind Jack Hobbs. The points the way they lie, Hobbs needs to finish higher, I think, Linus, based on my appreciation of the numbers here, has to finish higher than 8th. Right now he's in 6th place. So if this finishes the way I think it will, Hobbs will actually have this. Oh, he's 8th now, so he's actually 8th place now. Although he's fighting in this group and they aren't making it easy for him. He's in the danger zone.
He is. They're changing positions back and forth, trying to catch these cars in front. They're not doing a very good job with it right now, though. And that gap between 3rd and 2nd has gone up again. The gap between this group and 5th has gone up as well.
Briefly there, 3 wide for 3rd, 4th and 5th as Daniels goes back to the lead ahead of Cox and Patterson. Into the first corner they'll come. Behind them, what's Jack Hobbs doing? He's managed to clear that group again, which brings him back up to the 6th place. But can he keep that position? That's the thing. Can he be there by the end of the lap? He seems to be up at that point at the start, but doesn't seem to be able to hold it quite as well. Daniels has just gone wide in the Curva Grande there. He's dropped back into the 4th spot there behind Matt Cox, who's now leading this group. So perhaps testing positioning come the end of the lap to see where he can actually sit in this one. But Edwards still leading the way now, as he has almost every lap been in this position. Obviously the last lap is where we expect him to actually drop back and not make that draft pass. The gap they have now, 3 seconds, Linus. That's pretty huge. That's enough room for him to actually work his tactics here with Cat and do what he can. But of course, all he can focus on is how he wants to play this race, how he wants to try and do what he can to win. And he has wiggle room. They've got room to breathe. There's 2 cars. They work together to break away, rather than leaders who fight together, bring themselves back to the rest of the pack and end up in a fight. So this is smart racing by both of them. They both want to have enough room to decide who wins this.
They do, and the 3 guys behind them are working together as well now by the looks of it. They might still be racing, we don't know that, but he swapped positions down that straightaway. Here we come on to the next one. So we'll have to see if they're going to keep on working together. That is now Daniels in the lead. Cox behind, he's not close enough. Here comes Patterson. He's obviously not wanting to work, trying to pass, but not got any draft, so going to stay behind them. Here they come again. Cox and Daniels just moves over, so they are working together slightly. But that did not look like it worked out the way they wanted it to.
No, not quite.
It's going to cost them more time to the leaders.
Absolutely right. That will cost them a lot of time there. And right now, look at where Hobbs is. And Hobbs is actually going to be passed before the line here. That could get awkward on the last lap if it costs him a spot. That sees Hobbs in 7th place for now. There's 3 wide. They're going to go up past the start point. Under the lights they come there. Ahead of them is Daniels and Cox side by side with the trio behind them. Everyone vying for positions, and well, there you go. Hobbs goes back to the beginning of that one again. As Vaughan Roberts
caught up
throws
just
it
like
deep.
that.
They have, but they drop back again, it seems, quite almost every lap.
The gap between Edwards and Cox on that lap will 2nd to 3rd open up by over 1 second, so the leaders are gone. They've got a race for themselves, as here comes Vaughan Roberts. Moving, actually that's Robertson passing Vaughan Roberts, who got a really bad exit out of that first chicane. So it's now Vaughan Roberts back to 7th, Robertson in 6th, and Hobbs back in 8th.
And that's
But
the danger line there.
It's about to turn into a 3-car race for third.
I think it might, but I'm also not sure it will, Linus, because the way things have been panning out here, these guys haven't really had the opportunity, and whilst they've gotten closer to make it a 6-car race perhaps for third, I don't think they're quite in the right position to be able to do that at this point. I think it's still a bit too open. The gaps between the two groups open up once they start fighting, as we'll try and teach our Swedish commentator basic numerics. See, Linus, 1 car plus 2 car plus 1 car. No, that's the wrong way around. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. 1 plus 5 equals 6. And I just screwed it up too, which is even worse. You said a 3-car battle for third, not a 6-car battle for third.
I meant 6-car battle for third, because there are 3 more cars coming. Oh, well, never mind.
It's absolutely fine. We'll not rest on this, because I just screwed up my retort. So as there goes Vaughan Roberts running wide, but he stays ahead for now. They should see Hobbs come past him fairly easily. Having to take an extreme inside, though, as Daniels takes it inside, as up there Patterson comes around the outside into Parabolica. No longer quite the most dangerous corner it used to be with the paving going out there. Personally, I thought that was better when they had gravel on the outside of Parabolica, but that's just me. As the group is closing up, it does seem as though the first car in this trio here, Robertson, is gaining on the leaders, but Hobbs and Vaughan Roberts perhaps not as much here.
They're fighting too much, and here comes Vaughan Roberts again trying to pass Hobbs. Obviously that would be a way of working together as well, but Hobbs is not lifting out, so he's not helping it, as they are now 4 cars in front of him. And the gap to the leaders again increased the gap by half a second, so it's this is a race for third from now on.
Well, we just heard there that Chris Robertson just put the fastest lap of the race in so far. That would have been a 2:14.392, so that actually outpaced qualifying's top lap. But of course, the draft effect going to be a big equalizer here, bringing people forwards in speed there. So fantastic lap from him. As up the inside there dives Robertson on Patterson, bringing himself into that lead battle there. That's exactly what he needed. As now this becomes a little messier, Linus. When we had 2 trios, that was almost cleaner racing when how they were all battling each other. Now with 6 cars under the umbrella, that could get a lot messier when it comes to these guys trying to jostle for position, because they aren't being the cleanest.
Well, they certainly are not, and they're not racing for a win anymore, so it's whoever wins this battle gets on the podium, and that's about it, apart from Hobbs, who will win the championship unless he crashes out. So he's got something to win, but he's also got something massive to lose, so he's got to be patient here. And it looks like he's sitting back slightly, maybe taking it easy, maybe he's not fast enough, I don't know, but looks like he's taking it slightly easy, not to get too involved here, as he's leaving a slight gap to the cars in front. He closed up a bit there though, but he got a bad exit, so mainly 4 cars at the front here racing it out, and that is Cox leading that group from Daniels and Chris J. Robertson. I almost said Robinson again, as you did.
You know, the way this plays out, if it becomes, oh, that's brave there by Robinson as he dives to the inside there of Cox, getting himself involved in this battle here. This could get very messy very quickly. If it came down to a draw, Hobbs would win the way things stand. He has an extra top 5 over Edwards, and he has an extra 2 top 10s, so he really does need to actually finish higher. This is all looking at things based on and containing 2 drop weeks, although I think they may take drop weeks into account of who got what scores where when that's applied. Right now it's an automatic 2 lowest scores, but those may factor in as this gets very tight now into the first chicane there. And Hobbs still not being able to find his way through this traffic.
Nope, he's just sitting back there. He gained 1 position, but he's taking his time. He knows he can't get any further, so he's taking it easy here. 3 laps to go as they're side by side at the front of this group once again for 3rd place, like we've seen so many times before. That's Pattinson going past Cox for 3rd. Daniel sitting back there in 5th, still looking, just not doing too much.
He certainly is, and well, Daniel's taking his time here, just playing the safe card at the moment. He's the one that's been trying to get the slingshot going amongst this group, making it easy for people to drive past, but people have just been trying to vie for their own positions here rather than work on catching the leaders. That gap, of course, past 5 seconds last lap by. So Cat and Edwards, they are long gone in this race as they're almost approaching the Acre Mineral down there. Ascari, sorry, Acqua Minerale is different track entirely. That's Imola. Why did I pull that out of my brain? Yeah, the Variante Ascari, I should say. Do you know Monza, I promise. Okay, so the drop points in is 15 points between them. That's interesting. So that makes things much, much broader now. Hobbs can finish slightly higher than this if it's 15 points.
Daniels is moving out of line to get out of the draft. I don't really know what he's doing. Maybe he does want to be in this position come the last lap to get third place. Maybe he knows something that we don't.
It's a safe place for him to do that. It's exactly where he'd want to be. So if it's 15 points, Linus, that means Hobbs is not far enough up yet.
Well, 15 points, that means if Edwards wins, he needs to score 25, and that is about 7th place, I believe. Or 6th, 7th.
I'll take a look for you now. We'll keep talking, but I will find those numbers for you. 25 is 6th place, so he has to be in 6th place to get 25 points.
And here we go, 4 wide. Hobbs is looking at this from behind. Actually, he's not involved in this, but he nearly made it 4 wide. Let's go back to 2x2. And that's Daniels, who's making up positions and getting into 3rd.
Certainly
just
is.
as I'm saying, he's taking it easy, biding his time.
And that brings up to the 5th place, the car of Jack Hobbs, which is well in the safe zone now for him points-wise. So that's going to be a major factor here. He knows now he is in a position where he can hold this and win, as long as he actually knows the mathematics of this race and how far up he has to finish. As we've still got going to be 2 laps to go, including this one here at Monza. And it's been a phenomenal race so far. The battling here in the lead pack and this second pack have been great. Although, till recently, Linus, this was 2 separate packs. This was the 2nd and 3rd grouping, and now, wow, they're all bunched up here and crunched into a little ball of race cars. And let's hope that's about as close as they get, because this could go sideways very quickly for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, we don't want it to be literally a ball of race cars, because that would be very tragic for Hobbs and everybody in this group. They've had an amazing race so far, battling it out between, well, first in 2 trios, like you said, and now between the 6 of them. So just hope we can keep this battle all the way till the end. And at the moment, looking at the front, Edwards is in 2nd, and that would definitely play into Hobbs' hands, as he can score 5 less points and still be the champion, which means he can finish last in this group.
Yeah, it certainly does, and that would be a big one for him there to make this a lot easier as a race, as things getting quite dramatic at this point to the race. Nobody is sure where everyone's going to finish, and look at this one, Hobbs now working his way forwards. Could he get himself into the 3rd spot? 5th is good, as Vaughan Roberts goes very shallow there and gets himself out of timing. Hobbs will be under threat now from behind as we enter this final lap, and I could see him in a very precarious spot, as he could drop as far as 7th or 8th in this pack as he pulls out to make a move here on Daniels, sorry. Making it 2 wide as Daniels takes it 3 wide now across the start line. Could this be Hobbs shooting himself up to 3rd place? Will someone make a desperate move here, as it might become at least 2x2 as Cox joins the group? Outside of the first chicane is a precarious spot for him, as contact is made there. It's 3 wide now as he'll lose spots and momentum. That's the worst thing that could happen there for Jack Hobbs, as now he is back in the 5th spot for the moment. But those other 2 cars may have an opportunity here to pass, or those 3 cars, I should say. That was very nearly a disastrous moment as he got pinched there between 2 race cars. And we're looking at Simon Edwards. I want to see him right now in 2nd, and he is. Simon Edwards didn't pass on the start line. He didn't pass on this final lap. He knew what he had to do, and he knew the opportunities here. Edwards stayed in 2nd place, Linus, and that could be his winning move in this one. Jack Hobbs there getting passed by Matt Cox now as they come through into the Lesbos. Drops another spot there. He might have some slight damage on him, because the other cars are looking like they're gaining on him in a moment as they head down now in through the 2nd part of Lesbos. Just off goes to Edwards. Sorry, Daniels. I got that wrong. I was looking at the wrong car there in the listing, but here comes Robertson, who might try and make a move here on Hobbs. This could be a critical problem. He may have slight damage on that race car that's actually costing him speed here. Simon Edwards coming through. Ooh, Variante Alta now. We need to look at this, actually, because this is the critical one, as wide goes Cat. Here comes Edwards. This is for the race win.
Contact! And they still go.
Oh, there is definitely contact. This is becoming a huge mess right now, as we need to look at the leaders. Here it is. Edwards to the outside. Sweeps past Anthony Cat. into the Parabolica. And it will come down to a side-by-side race here as he runs wide, loses time. And Anthony Catt, I think, is going to have it. But no, the draft is coming. Here comes Simon Edwards. Who will cross the line first? It's impossible to tell from my angle. It's going to be Simon Edwards across the line. And behind them, Hobbs is in fourth, I think, at the moment. It's tough to tell as across the line goes. Well, spins across the line goes Daniels.
Oh, he's actually in fifth.
Fifth place. Oh, we'll have to top this up afterwards, but I think he may have done enough there, Linus, to win this one. It's quite the explosive finish there.
Yeah, Daniels had driven away. I didn't see him. I thought he was in fourth. And actually, Matt Cox went off in the last corner as well on a kamikaze dive into the Parabolica.
That's what cost him the spot.
So, but Jack Hobbs is in fifth, and that should see him the champion.
There we go. Wow, that was absolutely crazy there in that last corner. We'll take a look back at what happened for them so you can see exactly what's going down there. As you see them coming through Parabolica, and Matt Cox is the one we were looking at there. He's the one that just dove in the inside, and he stepped out at the back, went off the track backwards. And, well, in the olden days, that would have been in the gravel, but he ends up in the gravel regardless there, as that one was an absolute melee across the line.
Yeah, it was, and, wow. Hobbs less than 1/10 ahead of Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, just over 2/10 ahead of Ian Pattinson. So, and Edwards got the win by 34 1/1000ths of a second. So that's how close this championship battle was. And I think Hobbs has actually won it by 1 point. So you could say that is less than 2/10 that he won by. So that was as close of a championship as you will get, and racing all the way till the end. That was dramatic.
It certainly was a phenomenal one. And we'll go through your post-race results. Simon Edwards may take the win today, but the championship just slips out of his grasp there. Anthony Catt second place by 0.03 of a second there. Ben Daniels in third place, grasping that last spot at the podium, sliding across the line. Chris Robertson and Jack Hobbs make up your top 5, and your new champion, we believe, Jack Hobbs there in 5th. Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, Ewan Patterson, Daniel Tufts, with Lee Anderson and Adam Parle in 10th. Jake Riddington 11th place with Matt Cox, Chris Morris, Tony Stack, Dave Martin in 15th with Michael Taylor, Neil Jackson, Mark Woodhouse, Alan Patterson, and Fahim Antonides comes home from 38th, up 18 spots there to 20th in the end. Rest of the results on your screen, as this looks like a breakout first championship for Jack Hobbs. He's got to be feeling good about this.
Yeah, I think he will, and well, he certainly had his work cut out for him. He had 3 wins on his way to 4 wins actually on his way to the championship, so had a really good season after missing the first race as well. He had no room for error for the rest of the season, and he really made it count. So that's really job well done to him, and Simon Edwards as well, also on 4 wins I believe, so or 5 with the one today. So it's he did all he could, but unfortunately it was not enough for him today.
Certainly not, no. Well, we have got a chance to talk to Adam Parle today, who came home in 10th place, up from 17th. Adam, busy race around Monza, the draft so important.
Yeah, it was. So it wasn't my greatest qualifying. I think I just sort of locked up the brakes on my final lap. So I didn't manage to put a fast one in. So I was it was going to be a bit of a struggle.
Certainly was. Well, a very busy one for you today, as 10th place, great recovery there, top 10 for the last round of the season. You hoping for some good results next time round?
Yeah, definitely. As I say, I think it was just 1 point between me and Anthony Jones for 5th in the championship, and say he had a bit of bad luck into the second chicane. So once I saw that happen in front of me, I knew I just had to kind of keep it sensible for the rest of the race. I kind of forgot that for a little bit in the middle because it got kind of hectic. But yeah, the last couple of laps just kind of calmed down just to bring it home to sort of lock in a decent finish for the season.
Yeah, certainly did, of course. Every new season brings new challenges. Well, thanks for joining us, Adam Parle, as you come home today in 10th place.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's certainly been a very busy race, and we're hoping to get a chance to talk to Simon and a couple of the others in just a few moments' time. But, it's been a very busy season, of course, as we've had some major challenges with the new tyre model in this car. It seems a very different beast to how it used to be. We've seen some breakout talents that get this car now.
Yeah, we really do, and it's few new names at the top, and also some top names that are not there anymore, like Fahim Antonidis. We didn't even mention him once in this race, I don't think. Obviously misqualified, did a great job getting through the race field, but he's one who's been struggling with this new tyre model, I think, and the new draft package that they have as well in these cars, which doesn't work quite as effective as it used to. So it's made the racing a lot more interesting, I would say. Not as much passing on the straights, but it's really, really good.
It certainly has. Well, certainly indeed a big challenge, and one that we'll see a lot of drivers adapt to. Of course, some standout names in this season, the likes of Anthony Catt, who's come to the forefront here and battling for the win here against someone like Simon Edwards. Not something we would have seen last season even, but Anthony Catt has shown himself to be an incredibly fast driver, and Vaughan Roberts too. The likes of Ewan Patterson has been constantly up towards the front, as the same thing goes for the likes of Ridlington, Cox and others, to name but a few. It's been a very busy one, but we have also now just got quickly Dave Kirkman. Dave came home today. I'm just trying to find out where exactly that was, Dave, as...
well, Fowler last.
You said you came in last?
Well, it felt
30th.
like it was 30th, yeah.
30th, okay, well 30th. Tell us what happened in your race.
I was having a really nice race with Dave Martin. We were working together to try and catch up. I think I was down in 12th or 13th. And then Fahim was gaining on us, and we were trying to keep away from Fahim. And he just got really close to us, and then we went 3 wide into the chicane. And I just had a look at the replay.
You see me interviewed.
And it looks like my fault, so I apologise to Fahim. I think I moved slightly over on him, and unfortunately took all 3 of us out. But it was a great race up until that moment.
Well, it certainly was, and hopefully better luck next time round.
Yeah, hopefully. I've certainly been improving and nearly got into the top 10 in the championship, so that's a big improvement from where I've been before.
It certainly has been. Well, thanks for joining us as you came home today in 30th place. Hopefully next season will be a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'll be interviewing Simon Edwards next, but before we do that, a very key reminder, especially broadcasters forgetting to put their microphone on push to talk when they come in for an interview. Paul Smith, everybody.
Hello.
Big hand to him for jumping into the middle of that last interview. As you know, you think of all people that would get the settings right, it'd be him, but no. Simon, we come to you here.
Well,
You
just
won
a
that
quick
race.
one. He's not
we've got
only
Will.
a commentator, he's a producer. You should know
Exactly.
better, Paul.
Okay, so back to Simon here, the winner of the race, who we actually came here to talk to. Simon, I think you've just missed out on that championship by maybe a place or 2 when it came to Jack Hobbs's positioning in this one. But no one could say you didn't do whatever you had to do here. You came home with a win, strategic win at the end there, and it was by the skin of your teeth in terms of distance. How was it for you?
Hi Rachel. Yeah, that's exactly all I could do was try and win the race, see what happened to Jack. I didn't want anything to, I didn't want him out. I didn't want him to be crashed out or anything like that. But
Don't lie, there's a tiny part of you that did.
Well, maybe have some damage, so he kept going backwards. Yeah, no, that might
I thought so.
Yeah, I didn't even do the calculation before the race to what positions were what. I just knew I needed to win the race, and he needed to be down lower in the order. And I'm 100% certain his 5th place is championship for him. So I want to congratulate him. He's drove really, really well this season. He's been consistent. He's always been fast, but he's always been a bit inconsistent. I'm sure he'd agree with that. But he's pulled that consistency back up, and he's stayed in the top 10s when he couldn't win. So it's been really great for him, I think.
Well, it certainly has been, but regardless, a fantastic win for you today here at Monza, a difficult track, and looking to be a fairly tactical choice there, realising there were 2 opportunities to draft on the lap, and when we saw you not make that move on the end of lap 10, I think your strategy was a little plain to us up here in the commentary box. It seemed to work well on the ground.
Yeah, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can try and lead and basically be in Anthony's position. But even if I'm in Anthony's position, I always go on the outside. The only wins I've had is running on the outside, regardless if I lead the lap or if I follow the lap. So I was going to do the last corner like that anyway. as long as I was allowed on the outside, of course.
Well, of course, it'd be polite if you're allowed to be. But either way, great win here tonight, and thank you very much for joining us, Simon.
Thank you, guys, and I'll see you next season.
We will indeed see you next season, hopefully, yes. As we do finally get a chance to chat to Paul Smith. Now, he's allowed to talk.
Yes.
Paul came home today in the 29th place from 42nd on the grid. Didn't qualify today, but a solid result.
It was a little bit disappointing, if I'm honest, because I'd gained 11 positions in turn 1. And then came around.
Everybody did. It was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, then it came around Curva Grande, and 2 drivers had decided to go into each other. So it wasn't ideal, let's just say the least. So these things happen, unfortunately, and this means that I ended up having to take my fast repair, and had a lonely race from there, and thankfully Dave Kirkman had an incident, and that meant that I had somebody to race at the end, and I beat him by mere tenths of a second.
Well, either way, tenths are all that counts when it comes to a race position, and you did get one in the end, as you managed to survive a fairly messy start to this race tonight. Well, thank you, of course, for joining us, as always, Paul, and yes, he is a producer and commentator on RaceSpotTV.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
you can
guys.
see him here all the time. Where he doesn't finish in 29th, he finishes first with RaceSpotTV because he's amazing. Thank you for joining us for this final round of the season.
Thanks,
this time
Rach.
round, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. I wasn't saying he finished first ahead of you. I was saying RaceSpotTV finishes first, Will. It was a compliment for us all. Everybody at home, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time in 2 weeks. Bye.